Salutations, utopians. Hope all is well in your world. Um, what a day in sports, honestly. From some good, some bad. Obviously, great showdown between Oklahoma City and Boston. Detroit looks like they're running away with the Minnesota Vikings game. Little disappointed in the Rutgers versus USC women's basketball. Would have loved to seen Kiyomi McMillan. They call her Baby Kyrie because of her handles. Showdown with Juju Watkins, but unfortunately that didn't happen this evening. Some big wins happened, transpire. Seattle, Geno Smith breaking his own career stats with Seattle franchise leading stats. What an evolution for him, knowing where it started with the New York Jets and seeing where he is today. Quite amazing. I mean, everyone's bringing up Zach Wilson, but we're forgetting Geno, escaped the Jets. Some disappointing news with respect to New England. Clearly, it looks like the rumors might have been true. They're going after Mike Vrabel. They've relieved Gerard Mayo of his responsibilities. Um, let's talk a little bit though about Sacramento. I'm sorry about the Miami Heat. Had a little bit of an epiphany on a Friday night. Um, Wanted to think a little bit more about it. And I have more, I guess we can call it a part two. Um, you know, Kawhi Leonard made his appearance last night for the first time, blowout victory at home in the new arena for the Clippers, the Intuit Dome. And I just found the timing to be, the spirit of the festivities to be unique, considering Jimmy's out for 7 games. Remember Kawhi took on the San Antonio Spurs. Miami Heat have kind of developed their own culture similar to that, kind of rivals that to a degree. And so it's just crazy to me, when I look at this situation now come full steam. I guess there's a little bit of vindication for Shams. Don't like to get too much into those type of dramatic things. I'm a pure sports head, uh, though I hate even putting labels on myself or putting myself in a box. But I like to try to keep it pure and avoid all the hoopla as much as possible. I do see there's a lot of beauty in this entire situation, because we're talking about Jimmy's, you know, final contract, possibly, more than likely. And the ironic thing is, Pat Riley and whom he's negotiating with now, him and Mickey Arison, the owner of the Miami Heat, there's so much similarities. Um, if you really dive deeper into what's going on here, Pat wasn't always a Miami Heat. He had time with the Lakers, which is where his affinity for probably Spoelstra begins. He sees himself in Spoelstra. He didn't have um, a linear path towards becoming a head coach, so to speak. He kind of fumbled his way into being the head coach of the Lakers through chaos. And um, he fit that image perfectly of that franchise. It's not just one thing when you're talking about being in charge of a big franchise like the Lakers, the Knicks, Miami. It's an appearance, it's a demeanor, it's a swagger about you. And, and Pat Riley for so long has, been a guy who's matches the description ideally of the presentation you're looking for in a coach, that, sells that we are an elite franchise. He's just got a slick glamour about him, that not many people have. In this modern day, the youngsters like to say aura, so to speak. And Pat has his own kind of journey similar to Jimmy Butler, who, as you all know, his journey, Chicago, he kind of bumped heads with D Rose at one point. Ironically, while he's doing his jersey retirement yesterday on a Friday with the Chicago Bulls jersey retirement ceremony, he showed up. The number one, numero uno, Shelby retired. Um, then he goes to Minnesota, and as you all know, the big time meltdown in practice. And while everyone keeps bragging about how the Knicks won the Wolves trade, it's not much to be flexing about when they were left with no choices. At the end of the day, Tim Connolly did what he was supposed to do. Does it look like the Knicks are up right now? Absolutely. But it's like bragging about something you have nothing to do with. You know, they did the best trade they were supposed to do in that moment, considering Carl Towns, they're a small market team, and Carl Towns is making 60 million a year, and you got a small market franchise that has hit a has hit a pinnacle, has hit has become plateaued, and has reached a plateau, excuse me, and they did what they were supposed to do. The Knicks got what they were supposed to get, um, and he was right all along about Cat. Cat admit he had some growing up to do. That was the first introduction to, we got a problem here with Carl Towns. Jimmy was the one who helped face the music with Tibbs there and everything. Like, he's the one who helped fast, bring along that franchise. That's like Pat brings franchises along. Pat went to New York after LA, took them to the finals, felt like they plateaued. He had to leave house, and then he goes to Miami where he's been 20 years. Well, Jimmy kind of, they plateaued, and he went to, then Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid was battling. So, okay, cool. I'm going to go over in Philly and we got to do something. And when that time was up, then he went to Miami after they had the Heatles run, and Dwayne Wade finally cooled off with Pat, which is, you know, a similar mirroring situation, which later on Pat admitted that he wished he handled it differently. And it was petty because they had the money there. They had the reserve there to do so. And I don't know exactly how the CBA works, but if Jimmy and Pat can meet each other halfway and say, how about 145 over 3 years? Something along the lines of what PG is getting. I understand he wants to be like Udonis Haslem, maybe. He wants that Udonis Haslem treatment, so to speak. He took you to 2 finals after the Heatles. So I can understand that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, however, he's also got to realize he's not worth what he thinks he's worth, and the Miami Heat are right. And you're not going to strong arm you can't strong arm and be sentimental at the same time. It's business, right? And so, he's expressed that he doesn't want to be there. He can't find his joy. And the Heat have openly known they're not pleased with his performance. Guess what? Now you're at a logjam. But you do have Kyle Ware who's showing promise. You got Bam. And this makes you concerned because it's like, we're going to really see how Pat Riley feels. Because I don't know if it's just teams don't want to help them, but if it's in a perfect world, it's on the table. He can be friendly and helpful. Like, I appreciate your service, and I'll send you to the best destination, i.e., maybe Sacramento or Minnesota, maybe, because they obviously have big problems and is having identity crisis. He doesn't want to let up on being a volume scorer. So they could have maybe a middle ground, someone like Jimmy to get on him. The problem is Jimmy's not even himself enough. He's not even his confident alpha version of himself right now. He looks like he's wounded. And I don't know if he can snap out of that mindset. He says, I can't find my joy, but I don't know if there's joy anywhere because he looks like he is deeply haunted right now. And so you look at the situation going on right now and you're like, okay, Jimmy, you have to kind of stay put at this point and play out the season and just go on a legendary run. Like, your heart depends on it. And, the team has put themselves all the way out there already. You got nothing to lose. Really, the best resolution is to mend because he's in the best environment he can be. Like I said, I think Minnesota's a great destination. There's been rumors of Memphis potentially. They were in the Finney-Smith sweepstakes, from my understanding, from a Nets insider. But, on Twitter X, so I don't know to the magnitude of how far it went. It sounded like it was an 11th hour turn down. But there's options, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's not guaranteed. And if Pat really wants to be ruthless, I remember when Phil Jackson, after LeBron accused him of being certain things because of his comment about Popsy, and J.R. Smith was untying people shooting the game in games and stuff and acting out. Shump was looking like a damaged good. Both Shump and JR were practically out the league. Phil Jackson was gracious enough, despite all that, to send him to the one place, to send both of them to the one place, the one player that could revive their career, which was the Cleveland Cavaliers, even though they were Eastern Conference rivals. And you know, is Pat Riley that gracious to send him to the best destination, or could he be like, you know what, we're gonna keep Bam at the five. Kyle Ware is a rookie. I don't trust rooks. I'm old school, and I'm going to uh, send you to Washington. They got a bag. They could use a vet in that locker room besides um, what's that guy's name? 90, 50, 40. I see his face. He at one point could have been a Brandon Roy, but he got old while he was injured. Malcolm Brogdon, add another veteran presence over there, guy to give them a little attitude. Alex Sarr could use it. Balal, um, Balalabi, he's a small forward, 6'9" guy. I'm not pronouncing it correctly right now, but they got also a small forward from Miami, Keon Johnson, Keon something like that. He's like a mellow type player, and then they also got a great smooth two guard who looks like very promising over there amongst the likes of a young C.J. McCollum. I see his face. I can't think of it right now, but they could, like, hey, you know what? I want Kyle Kuzma, who's expressed interest in playing for a more larger market, and he wants a sizable payday. You bring a scorer like that at the four, who's been to the finals, and you send Jimmy off, Mr. Playoff Jimmy, to the abyss of irrelevance where he can get paid, but he'll never see a postseason, so he doesn't got to worry about turning it up a notch. That's how petty he can be. It's damning to me that, and interesting that Pat Riley would say, we don't feel like you're playing the best that you can play, when you send a key rotational piece to a historically rival Eastern Conference foe in the Indiana Pacers, when they sent Thomas Bryant there as the first trade of the trade deadline, trade market opening. Obviously, the deadline's in February, but it was the first trade when players were eligible to be moved, and you help out, you mobilize a Eastern Conference rival. What did that communicate to the team? While we're talking about people are quitting, and you're only getting draft picks in return, you didn't slide one piece out to risk their foundation, taking draft picks, which could be a sign that to entice a trade package that could be uh, for a bigger deal down the line, right? Which is February. But accusing a player of not playing their hardest while helping a rival in the Eastern Conference is not a good look. Even if you are trying to use it to get a better piece to help make the team better. Miami has some good pieces, and Tyler Hero is as good as any two guard right now in the league. Bam is playing okay. He's not the best version of himself. He's not prime version since he signed that contract extension, but he is definitely above serviceable for sure. For sure. I mean, coming off that Olympic bid, but that's why I said they should just play the youngster, let him handle all the dirty work, keep him at the four, let him be a help side defender and all that, keep him off the physicality so much. He showed enough Kyle Ware in the summer league, but Spo has been questioned for his rotations in years past and just his overall coaching prowess, and it's not been his best year so far. But all of this irony that's going on right now, and ultimately you're hearing all these different scenarios, though I think those two Western Conference teams I mentioned, I don't think Houston is a good trade. I think they got to keep their nucleus together for better or worse. It can look a little clunky at times, but they haven't even really gotten to playing Cam Whitmore, Mr. Per 36. He's a phenomenal player. The other Houston, San Antonio, I don't see them breaking. They already got Harrison Barnes. They're not going to accommodate Jimmy. The Warriors have two small forwards in there, and Kuminga, who just now went down with a 3-week injury. But they got Moody. They're abundant. They don't need a three. And the Phoenix Suns, that's a lateral move, if not deficit move. When you go and trading for Bradley Beal, that doesn't make it any better for them. So really, it's like stay home, or you send them to the Grizzlies or a team like the Wolves. or you can send them to the abyss of irrelevance, like I stated before with the Wizards, something like that. A team who will give him what he wants, maybe if they are even. I don't know if they would even pay him. They don't have anyone to me right now that if tomorrow, next year is like, oh, we have to lock him up. CRISPR is cool, but like, you know, they literally paid Volusianis, I think, just to get to the floor minimum of spending. So, this is a situation where it might just be best to stay home and work your differences out and be the team that you guys can be, because they've gone to the finals with far less. Obviously, there's more metrics that go into it than that, but you've done more with less. It's the overall attitude and spirit of the team that needs to change. And so, honestly, the Heat can play against anyone. There's a lot of teams right now. If they would lock in and focus, Denver, Milwaukee. Uh, I don't think the Suns are that. I think the Kings are passing the Suns with the Doug Christie head coaching change. That is proven to look. The team is looking different. They're looking better. With this new administration. Not anything against the previous one, but hey, you know what? They made the tough call, and it's looking like it's paying dividends. I have no problem with Doug Christie. That was one of my cherished years of basketball, one of the best years of all time. And you're already seeing them moving the ball around and stuff. So like the ball movement is improved, the energy, the tenacity, everything is looking up. It's just mental these days. Every team has a decent squad, and then it's who's actually playing with a level of togetherness. You're seeing right now Cleveland, for all their flaws and questions that people, I mean, for all their question marks of how serious they are, the one thing they got going is you're relatively young, mature young, though not baby young, but mature young, grown men, but segueing into true adulthood, that have been together for a while, and if they keep that nucleus going, sometimes all you got to do is just stick around long enough for something good to happen. And that's kind of what it is with the Cavs. While everyone else is trying to piece together the most perfect complementary roster, they already are that. They just got to keep playing games and showing up. And they've been healthy for the most part, and everyone kind of knows their role, and they've been there, done that, and that's what makes them the most dangerous right now than they've ever been, as in a league that keeps burning and turning with new acquisitions. So the Heat are a team that has been tenured. Yes, they did get Terry Rozier last year, but the core nucleus: Duncan Robinson, Kevin Love, Bam, Jaime Jaquez has another year with the Heat, but Kyle Ware is now a new addition who they can welcome to the family. There's a lot of positivity there that just needs to be resuscitated, and everyone needs to just calm down. Jimmy has to be professional. I understand you want them to make a decision, but sometimes the best thing you can do, quiet and deliver. That's it. Best result when your work speaks for itself. They have a saying: "Don't interrupt." And at this point, it would be nice to see Jimmy say, "Okay, I see the situation for what it is. My value is down so low because the way they handled it. Him and his agent should have gotten quiet. Don't refute. Don't do anything. Let the Heat think what they want to think. Let the media think what they want to think." The best thing would have been to just be quiet, show up, and do it. And don't talk about it. Be about it, right? If you're healthy, show up, do it the best you can in the way you can do it. And when the power is in your hand, trust and believe that the door will open for you when it's appropriate, when it's opportune. Until then, in the meantime, between time, don't even bother focusing on that, because there's nothing you can do. You're not in the time to dictate the scheduling of everything. Time is not really in your advantage right now, but your performance is, and your conduct during that performance is what matters. And so his agent is trying to be a little bit of a celebrity. I've even seen his Twitter account, and he's putting his opinion on sports, even if they're just, I don't want to hear anything from my agent in terms of public speaking. If I'm in Jimmy's shoes, I don't want you talking about other athletes, how great they're. Nothing right now. We're in a serious standoff, and the last thing I need is any clues of any type of anything. You know what I mean? Unless it's a current client already on the roster, or you're recruiting a client, there's no reason to be giving your opinion on sports takes or highlights or anything. Go get you a burner like everyone else who's established and well oriented in terms of what their business affairs. But right now they're in too much of a rocky road and too much of a chess match to be showing any hand. That's just my humble opinion. Hope this was a little more informative on the situation, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to do better next time. Global out.